Okay, so we start off with some hops. This is like the easiest move, and I do this one the most often. And what I like to do on this one is I focus on feeling my energy move up and down, up and down. I particularly like to move my shoulders up and drop it down. So this way, anytime I ever get tension around my traps, around my upper back, I simply just drop it a little more. And the funny thing about it is, I remember after doing these practices for a little while, I went to static dance, and I realized that I was really doing half my practice at dance. I was like, oh, this makes sense. This is why static dance is so cool. Okay, so now we're going to do some massage. So we're going to do like a minute down in our lower body. So just take your time. You guys aren't going to run into this issue, but any areas that you can't reach, you can't tap, just don't tap it. Just tap the area that you want. And you can use whatever pressure, whatever hand position, slapping, this, pecking. Just whatever is possible. Because one of the intentions is to relax and teach our body how to let go. Alright, now let's move to our upper body. So because of that, we want to make sure that we are having fun and that we go with an intense level, an intensive level that is easy for us. If you're a really, really intense person and you go all out, it feels fine for you. But if you're not, you're a little more relaxed person, you don't have to go all out. You know, just go and whatever feels good. One thing about practice is just like food. You know how eating healthy is like really important, and we all know the reasons why. But I find that sometimes if we ever eat food that's like really healthy for us, but we don't really like it, and we just eat it just because we know it's really, really healthy for us, but we don't enjoy it, goes to our head, then we have this feeling of non-enjoyment, you know, when we're eating it. We look at it like, oh God, I gotta eat this. And that sensation, that feeling, that intention that we have on that food doesn't make the food good for us. And so the same thing when it comes to physical practice. I remember back then I used to really dread leg day. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to put hundreds and hundreds of pounds on my back and squat this. Oh my God, I'm not looking forward to it. And so you're going in already going like, I dread this, I can't wait till it's done. Let me get out these 5, 6 sets and move on. Oh right, leg presses, oh great, you know? And so when we're doing the practice, when we're doing our exercise, we always want to make sure that it's enjoyable and that we're having fun. So let's go and rub our hands together to charge up the chi. Now we're going to rub up and down the side of our nose here so we can open up channels here, the nadis, the Muda, and the Gala. And then from here, let's just move directly to our eyes, and we're going to rub around our eyes in the direction of our eyebrows. And these are the longevity exercises. And they're to keep our senses off shape. And there are so many great massages and great techniques ears. And now let's go the other direction. Now let's rub the top of our nose. We're just going to go one direction first. Loosening up the cartridge. Now let's go the other direction. Alright. Now let's go ahead and recharge up the hands. More Qi. We're going to do pressure point here at the temple. Let's press here, hold for 3, 2, 1, release. Hold for 3, 2, 1, release. 3, 2, 1, release. 3, 2, 1, release. One more, 2, 1, release. Let's press under our nose, above our lip, right in the center right here. Press for 3, 2, 1, release. 3, 2, 1, release. 3, 2, 1, release. Last one, hold, release. Okay? So now we're going to do our eyes. I like to put my hands on my hip. Seems to help with my eyes. It's strange. I don't know why. So we're going to do a rotation here. We're going to do about 12 rotations here. So we're going to look up and we're just going to circle around. This is going to help strengthen the eye muscle. Just going to go in both directions here. So we're going to come at about a 7 or 8. Just going to do a few more. Alright, now let's go the other direction. Great. Now we're going to do our tongue. Keep the tongue above the teeth behind our lip. We're going to go rotations. So let's do about 12 on each direction. That direction. How many of you guys' tongue got sore in that one? Alright? It's like the type of strength that your tongue should have if you want to use your tongue for other things, like eating. So, okay, so now we're gonna now do a breathing. We're gonna inhale through our nose, exhale through our mouth. It's gonna look like this. Okay, let's take a deep breath through our nose. Hold our breath. So now we're going to do rotations with our neck. It's going to look like this. Keeping your breath held. You're going to rotate about 12 times. If you can do it good rhythm with your body, then you put in the breathing with it too. So I like to keep my mouth closed for a lot of these movements here, and just focus on the exhale. So it's going to look like this. Now we put in the breathing. So whenever you close, you breathe out. And you want your arms to be as loose as possible. So whatever range of motion is easy for. When I first started this one, my range of motion on this was pretty difficult because I couldn't fly my arms out that much. My shoulders and my chest were too tight. So I had to come down and take it easy. And so it's always better to keep the movements as simple and as easy as possible and practice more on duration than it is to get really good range of motion, but only be able to do like 20 reps, you know? So this is about keeping the body in this constant rhythm, this constant flow. So, in the beginning when you're doing this, it takes a little bit for the body to kind of get used to doing these movements. I think for you guys it'll be a shorter learning curve if you guys move a lot. But for a lot of people, it'll take a little bit. This next one's a twist. I already know you're doing this, guy. So, the thing with the twist, think of your arms like spaghetti. It's so loose. You're not using your arms to hit your body. You're literally just turning your body, and your arms just happen to be dangling there. You know? And it's like, you know, it's like you ever lose feeling in something, you kind of flop your limb around, you know? It's kind of like that. And what we're practicing on is not carrying tension in our arms. But at the same time, when we can loosen up our arms completely, then we start to loosen up our shoulders completely. And then we start to loosen up everything completely. And before you know it, the only thing that's tense is in our body when we're doing these movements are the only necessary areas in our body that needs to be tense. All the other parts in our body is actually really loose. It's because we're moving, so some parts will always have to be tense. Like everything else can be really loose. And so we teach our bodies how to let go, how to relax. Because the more our bodies get used to relaxing and letting go, the better it gets at it. for my middle back and lower back, hip knee. And also this creates a lot of mobility in the core. Oh, and also I forgot to mention, I was talking about time on the breathing part of this. So we can breathe on each side, or we can breathe on only one side. So on both sides, it'll look like this. If we only do one side, it'll look like this. So just do whatever is comfortable.
Exhausted.
Makes it exhausted.
Good.
Yeah. And if it's not tiring, you can always like slow it down, right? You can always just slow it down. Always slow it down. It's like teaching the body how to function effortlessly. So if we learn how to do these movements with the least amount of effort, then when we are walking around and when we're like physically doing other stuff, we can do it in like a really relaxed way. And if we do it in a really relaxed way, then instead of stimulating the sympathetic nervous system, always in this fight or flight, we're always in that parasympathetic. We're always in that digestive and recovery. So our body is always relaxed. And so when we think about like what we do in our professions, what we do in our life, sometimes there's a need to be tense, you know, depending on what you do, right? But a lot of times in a modern society, people are tense in their body when physically they don't need to be tense. There's nothing heavy to lift. There's nothing really to be tense about. And therefore the body is just used to that tenseness, you know. And so when we practice these movements, when we teach our bodies to relax in these movements, then we can do this. We can get our bodies to do the same throughout the day. Anytime of stress, anytime of any tension, feel comes into our body, we can go ahead and just relax and let it go on the spot. You never have to carry it. I really like this one. It's like banging on my leg. I look at my leg, it's like drums. And again, the pressure, whatever is good with you. This is good for two things: movement, the hips, and also a nice leg massage. So now we're gonna go ahead and go into some circles. You can still bang a little if you want, or you can just kind of do the circle. So I imagine myself drawing a circle with my hips. And the circle becomes a little bigger and bigger, and before you know it, we're off of our feet, and we're kind of just in this space here. And this is really great for our lower body, because this now gives our lower body this opportunity to work on balance, to work on bringing pressure and stimulation in all of the areas, allowing the joints to have pressure in all the angles instead of just up and down, forward and back, or side to side. it's almost like people have to have permission to do something funky with their body. If not, it's not allowed. It's like this thing. And that's another thing with this practice is, okay, so now we're gonna do a kidney bounce, back of the wrist on our kidney, and we're just gonna bounce like this. Yeah, so I find like this practice always kind of gives people the permission to kind of explore their body, get a little funky, you know, do some of the stuff that they may not normally do.
Are you striking the kidneys in the back?
Nah, not striking up, just leaving it there, and I use my arm a little bit, but a lot of it just comes from this dropping down motion. See, so it's like I'm just resting it there, and if I just drop my knees down, automatically it starts to move it up and down. Yeah, so it's almost like I'm doing this, except this is a lot of work from our shoulders, and so when we drop it like this, we're able to massage the kidney at the same time we're moving the energy in our body and using momentum. At some point I was going to call this a funky chicken. I don't know, I feel like maybe just I'll be taking bounce. It is massaging. The mid-jagger. So yeah, I don't know like all the popular dances. That probably would have been a good one, right? Mid-jagger.
Sexy kid.
The sexy chicken. Okay, so now we're going to do some arm swings. And then, when the arm drops down, we exhale. This is another one of those moves where go with the range of motion that is comfortable for you. And also the speed, the intensity of it, that's really comfortable. Do the knee bounce to drop. Yep, do the knee bounce to go ahead and bring the momentum in. And when you drop down, put the pressure on your heels. So this way you allow the energy to move up and down your spine. Let's go the other direction now. Now find that our body's ability to be able to handle impacts should start in our feet, because we're on our feet the most often. And when we're doing these practices, this dropping down gives us like these little mini impacts. So these little mini impacts, our body can get used to. And when it gets used to these little mini impacts, it can handle more impacts. But I find that if we don't give these little mini impacts to our joints, our ankles, our knees, our hips, our back, and everything else, our spine, then when it's time for a medium-sized impact, we're not able to do it. It hurts. So now this next one here, arms to the sky. We're gonna bring the energy up from our base. Just like chanting, you're opening up the spine, opening up the passageway. timer started, so we're gonna go do some push-ups. So we just do them at our own speed, own style. You rest whenever you want. You can do them on your knees. You can do it against the counter. Make it as difficult, as easy as possible. Most important thing here is make sure you're enjoying yourself. That's the thing. So again, right, some people, oh, they love to go super intense, and they love it. That's just, they enjoy it. Cool. And some just want to take it a little easy. And that's how they enjoy themselves. Cool, do that too. Okay, just lay on the ground, arms out in front, thumbs up in the sky. Let's open it up. This is a prone cobra. Let's come up for 2, back together. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 2 together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 2 together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 2 together. So usually I'll be doing pull-ups. But if we don't have an area to do pull-ups, we can do prone cobras like this. Or we can find another roll for our back. So every one of these exercises can be modified. So now we're going to go into burpees. If we had an area to go ahead and do, alright, let's come into burpees now. If we had an area to do dips, I would just recommend dips. But burpees is a nice replacement. And yeah, you need this one time. Gotta use it. Need some air time. We're going to pike instead. So pike is like doing a downward dog, aiming at the top of our head, and going down between the hands and back up. So it's a good one to replace handstand push-ups. It's easier. Trains the shoulders, upper back, triceps. And again, rest whenever you need. Do it at your own speed. Just take it easy. Okay. Now, we're going to do squats. If you want to make it more challenging, you do jumping squats. See, the great thing I like about this is everybody can do it together, but everybody can do their version. Modify, rest whenever you want. that will naturally happen is start to go into a state of no mind, which is difficult to practice when you're working out because you constantly have to think about what exercise you're going to do next, different settings, and all these things. And when you're doing the same movements every day, your body remembers. You don't have to think anymore. Leg raises. Just like how we don't think when we brush our teeth, or when we use the restroom or shower.
Why do you recommend breathing there?
So with your breathing, just breathe normal. Some people need to have more air and just take in the air. Some people's breath is a little slower. Sometimes inhale and exhale is typically needed. And when we talk about basis of movement, air will naturally come in and out based on the needs of the body. Just like when we get stressed, naturally our air changes, breathing changes. And we are doing stuff like this without asking anybody to start to breathe hard. So this is running in place. As I started to do these more and more, one time you definitely feel it. But what's interesting is all the little areas of the body that most of the time people don't really think about strengthening and training. Those areas start to become strong. Kicks. If you don't usually kick, take it easy on your kicks. You don't want to pull anything, you know. But running in place, for example, strengthens your ankles, your feet, tremendously. And we think about every step.
Kicking my trash.
Yeah. Everybody's now sparring in class, looking at each other.
Having fun, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Thanks for playing with me, guys.
Yeah. Strikes. Whatever stretch you want to do.
Somebody took your papaya in the fridge. Ruby's pissed. Someone took my seat. Read, read.
Hungry.
Mike told me not to eat this morning. Now you can see why.
Hangry. Let that hangry out.
You will get the house movie. Just breathe.
Yeah, Andrew, you know about opening up at the end. So Andrew's opening up his fist at the end. Really, really move that lymphatic fluid in the body. Alright, now let's do some jumps. Go at your own speed, your own height. Feel your body. with optional ass in the air.
Okay, now.
No! Release the emotion. Optional knee to the ground. Optional face to the ground. A lot of options to choose from. Whatever feels good for you. Woo! You know, the best, always do your best, but your best will change at every moment. So,
You guys gave me the eagle. I was like, woo.
you know. Okay, push-ups. So now we're gonna do the same thing. One more time.
The whole thing?
Yep, the whole thing. Really, that was only 12 minutes.
Wow.
Alright?
So how was this whole process when you get it figured out? How long did you spend doing it?
Hour and 2 minutes and 26 seconds. Just kidding, I'm 26. Yeah, just kidding, I'm 2 minutes.
Numbers.
Yeah. It's like an hour. So, here's where you get to let go of the ego even more. Because you're fatigued. Front cobras. So at this point, see, when your performance is good, everybody feels good about themselves. But when your performance is tinkering because of how challenging it is, now we have a chance to experience humility. Badasses like you guys don't get to experience humility all the time. You know? Everything goes your way.
Or we're badasses because we choose humility all the time.
Wow.
That's why we're here too. Choose humility.
Really always fun.
Yeah.
Well, I guess this is another opportunity. Okay, burpees. See, when we think about traditional working out, when we think about how much time is used working out, how much time is used walking around, sitting there, checking the phone, moving from exercise to exercise, grabbing a weight, dropping a weight, swapping settings.
I'm sold, Mike! Damn it!
Talking all the way through the workout. Oh yeah. Fight again.
I love you, Mike.
Love you.
That clock is really broken.
Yeah. Androids.
You know what I'm saying? Apple a day, you know?
Apple a day.
Keeps the Android.
Yeah. Okay, squats. us doing a practice like this.
Slow-mo Dennis.
Look like a whole bunch of Street Fighter characters.
Way cooler. Yes, so we're like purple skin.
We're like strippers portraying themselves as Street Fighter.
Call me Carrigan.
I like that. That's good, Dennis.
Yeah. What I like to get into is a state of flow here in these movements where I'm not aware of myself anymore and the body is just moving. So therefore, all the energy is reserved for the movement. No energy is wasted in thought and figuring out, calculating anything. Jumps. Remember to take it easy if you don't do these movements very often. It's better to take it easy and feel good later today than work a little too hard. You guys are doing good. Proud of you guys. Last one, plank. And everything else from here, piece of cake. Woo! Butt up, butt down. Take your pick. Okay. Now, let's sit in legs out in front of you. We'll start off with a forward fold. Let's catch our breath. Let's go ahead and close our eyes. Now we're in part 3. We've just done our strength, muscle training, cardiovascular.
You do anything with the energy? You do anything with the energy?
Now, over here, the only thing.
I know what I do. I just don't know what you do.
Now at this point, what I used to do is I just relax and just stretch down. Tell me about the energy that you would do in a position like this.
You would draw enough energy out from your legs, out to your spine, and circle it back. it's just like getting
Like a double lock? Or?
yeah, like a triple.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't like doing it.
It's a good one. Yeah, what I like to do in this position is relax and I connect to the energy inside. Because maybe the energy inside is like moving around, not still because of the activity. Keeping your eyes closed, your eyes open, go down the middle. I just like to connect with the subtleness of energy inside and just practice relaxing and letting it go. So not only does it help with going deeper, it also just further teaches my body to let go. And also I deepen that connection with the energy. And I agree with what you're saying about grounding the energy and circulating it. There are many things like that that will be really beneficial for this part of the practice. Right leg stretch. Try to use the least amount of tension as possible. Relax as many parts of the body as possible and only tense what is needed. So relax the jaw, the eyes, face, hands, glutes, stomach. Go to the other side. When I do this, I just imagine myself as this really limp body that's just, it's almost like I'm sleeping when I'm stretching. I want to feel that calm. The idea is if I can be that calm in a position that usually would be a little tense, but I can be calm in these type of positions, and it opens up my range of positions that I can be in a state of calmness, versus only being in upright positions or positions where I'm not bending much. The moment I bend, tenseness happens. It's going to a side bend to the right arm reaches to the left leg, inner thigh, right hand reaches over to the right leg. And we'll point our left armpit towards the sky. For a deeper stretch.
And you can kiss yourself. Kids love everybody.
Just keep your eyes closed. Follow your breath. Quiet down the mind. Just focus on relaxing deeper into the body. Just go to the other side. How far? Left hand reaches to the right hand thigh. Right hand reaches over to the left foot. Point the right armpit towards the air. Deeper stretch. ligament and muscle. You want to do your best to relax it. Going to a pivot. Right leg bends, left leg straight. Come down for a pivot. Slowly go ahead and switch sides. Left leg bends. Right leg straight. Go ahead and lay onto your back, keeping your eyes closed. Do a spinal twist with your right knee. Bring it to the left side of the floor. Make sure your knee touches the ground before you turn your head to the right. Switch sides. Take your left knee, bring it to the right side of the floor. Make sure your knee touches the ground before turning your head to the left. Remember to relax your butt cheeks. Anything else that's not needed for this movement. Take both knees, bring it to our chest. Wrap your arms around your shins, holding at your elbows if you can, if not your wrists. Feet together, knees together. Point your chin towards your knees. That will help you flatten out the spine. Remember to breathe regularly. Alright, let's lay in Savasana. Straighten out the arms and legs. Let's just lay here, relax for about 10 seconds. This is about the part where if we weren't gonna do anything else, we would still be happy just laying here now. Well, we got a little more, we're almost done. All the hard stuff is done. So now we're gonna just do our last stretching move. We're just gonna go into a plow. So keeping our eyes closed still. Let's raise our legs up, bring it towards the back of our head. Knees together, feet together. Try to point your toes towards your head. And then the last thing to do is lock out your knees. Okay, slowly go ahead and lower the legs back towards the ground. You're still keeping your eyes closed. So you just gotta lay here for about 30 seconds while I go into part 4, last part. So the last part here, I'm gonna finish off with a simple breath work. And keep your eyes closed, stay laying down. I'm just setting the timer. So all we're going to do next is we're going to breathe in and out of our mouth. This is also known as shamanic or dynamic breathing. We're just going to breathe in and out of our mouth. We're going to keep our eyes closed, our mouth open. We want the breath to pass in and out as smooth as possible. We're going to focus a little more on the inhale while letting the exhale happen naturally. And so we're going to do that for about 6 minutes. Do it at your own pace, do it at your own speed and intensity. And after that, we're going to do an exhale hold, where we're going to exhale all of our breath. And once we have no air inside of our body, we're going to hold our breath as long as we can. And after that, we're going to do an inhale hold. We're going to do the opposite. We're going to take a deep breath in, and then we're going to hold our breath as long as we can. And then after that, we slowly exhale our breath, and then we're done. We'll just lay there and just relax after. So let's go ahead and begin. We're going to breathe in and out of our mouth, and let's begin now. So keep continuing while I speak a little bit to guide you. So at about 2 to 3 minutes in, you may start to feel your hands tingle a little bit. You may start to feel a little bit of energy starting to build up in the body. All of that is perfectly natural. If you've done this before, you know what I'm talking about. If it's your first time, it's natural. It would go away right after you're done breathing. And the more air you're breathing in, the more circulation you're creating inside your body, the more carbon dioxide you're pushing out of your body. And so you're just gonna keep going. When the timer is done, you'll know because it'll give a double beep, and that's when you'll exhale all of your breath. And then we'll go into that exhale hold. And when you're breathing, you want to keep your mouth as open as possible. So instead of pursing your lips, open your mouth, open your teeth. So this way the air passes in and out as smoothly as possible. When you're exhaling, your mouth is still very open. Think about your mouth as an air passageway. You don't want to purse your lips and restrict it. You want to keep it as open as possible. exhale, go ahead and hold your breath. Fully exhale, just hold your breath. Let out all the air. Now your goal is just to relax your body, let your body drop. I'd like at this point to feel my body sinking in to the ground. Sinking deep, deep into the ground. The deeper I relax, the longer I can hold my breath without having to take in any air. And you're going to hold it as long as you can. Only when you feel like you have to go ahead and inhale. At that point is when you take a deep inhale through your mouth, and then you're going to hold your breath again as long as you can. And until then, you're just going to lay, relax, connect your body, and your body sinks in to the ground. So when you have to inhale, that's when you take a big inhale and you hold your breath as long, as much as you can. Whenever you're ready, if you're done, inhale and exhale. Slowly make your way up to a seated position. Keep your eyes closed still if you like. Just take a minute or two to be in this upright position. Keep your eyes closed. sit in the upright position. And I take at least a few minutes to meditate. Sometimes a little longer, sometimes a little shorter. In this position, take this last moment to connect to the body, and to feel that calmness is in my body. Just feel how relaxed the body is. Remember that this is our natural state of being. Calm, relaxed state. Our body is feeling really good. It's in harmony. More often we do a practice like this, more often we feel relaxed, calm, at ease. The more often we feel that way, the more familiar our bodies become. The more familiar we become with this calm, relaxed state, the more often we feel it throughout the day. And I find I start to stay in this state of calm and relaxedness just throughout the day. It carries over everything I do. Things that would be a little tough is now much more easier because I feel so relaxed and calm. Whenever you're ready, just slowly open your eyes.
Well,
Thank you. Thank you for taking out time in the day to let me share this practice with you guys. You guys are super warriors and also so how did it feel for you guys? I saw you.
Professional.
You're that good. You're like that good coach or something.
I know. Well, I feel amazing. I love.
get to that state.
Yeah, you say
Get
this.
to that breathless state, so it's comforting, infinite, and then it gets to remember, go to that place. Why did I leave? It's an exhausting practice, all that jumping around, you know?
Yeah.
It's surprising though, like how much that when you first showed it to me, and I was like, and I tried, I was like, holy shit, that's a workout. It is like ecstatic dance. It's like an ecstatic dance. I feel like I'm like moving everything and I'm expanded and there's just all, but it was like you're tapping into all these places. And you said we don't get the opportunity very often to move weird. And some of my old retreats, I used to be like, how weird can you move? Because by the time when we're babies, we move 3,000 times per minute. 3,000. And we're like constantly tweaking and moving. By the time we're 3, it's condensed down to like less than 5 movements per minute. Like very minimal, like a massive difference. I don't remember the exact numbers, but that would be good for you. So it's so powerful to be like, give ourselves permission to be fully, all the stuff you do, I'm just like, yeah, how much have I tensed up and not allowed all of it to just be relaxed and move. So that's my favorite, is just incorporating breath with that and relaxing the body, and it's energy freeing and cleansing the cells and getting a workout. I mean, I love all of it. And I love the last part, getting to in the shamanic breath, which is just like, now I'm back to like pure being of light codes, like emulating for my whole body. And like Dennis said, why did I ever leave this place? Be here. So I appreciate all of it. Those are my favorites. And all of it.
Yeah, I love that. I like the 4 phases. It's almost like the 4 seasons. I felt like we started off in spring, things are coming to life. And then we move into summer, get the heat, and then we get the fall, and we're just like, boom. And then the winter, we're still, we're just like, connected.
Again.
I like how it's accessible to anybody yet, like of any experience, whether they've tried yoga or meditation or anything like that or not, but it also leaves room to incorporate more refined awarenesses as somebody progresses and becomes more bodily aware. Like you can do root lock, like different locks. You can be aware of the flow of energy from your chakras and the microcosmic orbit, and so many different awarenesses that can be added on top of the foundation of what you've got here.
Absolutely. And I actually, for my own practice, I add in all kinds of things. I'll do double locks and triple locks. I'll lay down and I'll do a perineum squeeze, or I'll come in and do a Uddiyana lock in a hold. Or I'll go into like the Wim Hof, I'll do an exhale hold, roll over, go into push-ups, roll back over, go into an inhale hold after. You're absolutely right. There's so much things that build on top of it. And for somebody who's very advanced and they can just add on things. But you're right, it's that foundation. And 4 seasons is such a good analogy too. Wow.
It was good to see like super fit beings like out of breath, as well as like you said that anyone can just follow along and then add the base to it. So it's like they're all at different levels, and so I like that too.
And that was something that was really important to me, because everybody's at different fitness levels, and also even at every day. Maybe somebody had a really intense workout the day before, or journey. Mark Street's all journeys, and they're like, I'd love to join, but and physically, I'm not all there to go all out, and it's okay, because it's scheduled to where there's no particular amount of repetition, there's no particular exercise. You can do squats, you can use a counter, you can go halfway, or you can just simply stop, sit, relax, and just wait till the next movement. And so this way it still allows people to come together and do it as a group. And somebody can be really fit and just do all the crazy stuff. And I love that. So this way people can still do it together. It's so much funner when we do it together. And there's an aspect of community, but also motivation, and it's accountable, Sometimes by ourselves, we may not feel like we want to do something because our mind drifts off into other things that are priority. But when someone's depending on us to show up somewhere and things like that, it makes it a lot more fun. And this is a perfect space for things like that. So thank you for allowing me to do this here.
It happens.
It's a wonderful place.
What I love is that, because being a global citizen and traveler, there's minimal times I've had access to a gym. I'm like in initiations in India and like up on some mountaintop, and you know what I mean? And so I've always carried my bands all over the world and stick to structural and fixed intervals, but I kept feeling a call to, like I saw Scott in the gym and I was like, yeah, brother, like how do I move my body in all the ways? And so, but I didn't have a format for it. Yes. And I felt like you gave me a format for it. And now I'm like, I'm about to head to Peru and be in journey and medicine, and yet there's like something I could do anywhere. Like you literally can have this little tiny space and I can still always create it. I could do it in an offshore in India, I could do it at a park, I could do it anywhere. And I love that it still felt like I got the physique workout that I want, as well as the health, as well as the alignment, the breath, the releasing the energy. It just, so, #1 fan. That fan is like, wait.
And speaking of that, so, you know, earlier I was mentioning that this practice continuously evolves and it's still like an infant stage, you know, like you talked about circulating during the stretching. I mean, that's perfect, you know, that's a perfect way to even bring in more grounding, bring in more energy movement. Another thing that I found is that we did today without any music, you know, and there are times too I'll turn on the music and I would do the practice with music, and I found that I started to move with the music, and I would use the movements that I'm doing here that I showed you guys, but I would do it with music, and it became a little more freestyle, and it started to evolve. And what started off as this drop down arms, you know, I started moving my whole entire body with it, and the foundation of the movement is still the same, but so many other parts of the body is flowing and moving with the music, and before you know it, I'm connecting to the rhythm of the music, and I'm not connecting to my breath. My breath and my body is connected directly to the rhythm of the music. And now what it does is we lose sense of time even more because our mind is now not thinking of doing anything. Our bodies are so used to the movement, because if it's somebody's first time but they're not used to moving like this, it takes a little while to kind of get the rhythm and get the body to know how to move in this way. But after a little while, the body remembers, and very, very effortless to move in that way. And then at that point, the body can just follow something. It can follow the breath. It just kind of moves with it. But if it goes with music, it's even easier. Now it can follow the tempo of music. And now we dive into having it to be like an ecstatic dance, but it's an ecstatic dance with a little bit of format to it, just a little bit. And I thought about how cool it would be to start off by doing a practice like this, and then we end with music playing in. So I didn't know how I was going to incorporate the breath, because that kind of shifts things, but at the end of that last part, somehow, or maybe have the first part be at the end, but go into music to where people are now moving. And then we can do it, maybe we'll just do the whole thing with music, but having it to be a little longer per move, but have it to be easier. And so I'm just thinking out loud, but that's something that I saw it evolve into.
Yeah, that's very similar to, I teach I call it a transformational workshop. Actually, yeah, there's a lot of moves that you do in yours that I'm like, that are very similar, but the music is one element, and something that might be like a longer vision, part of the longer vision for mine. Like now I make a playlist and I do it too, but like ultimately kind of like how P90X has its own playlist, but like there's an hour-long set of music that you've actually created with somebody that's the right tempos for the certain moves, that holds the amount of time you'd want to do, so they could put on the hour-long track, and then there's totally no thought. You can have your words in it, cueing things, you know, so that is like one option to cue with music. Or there's the playfulness of the variety. It's nice to do this movement fast one day and slow another day, but like that arc of like creating the soundtrack to your exercise in like a really constructive way could be a level that's like one stage that it hits that goes inspired.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Maybe have like a little ding between every part.
Totally,
You know,
little musical cues that are like, there's like a or something. You know, that's the next, like, okay, I'm moving on, and it can even like build. They can tell it's getting toward the end of it. Then I gotta remember it. Yeah, there's like so many options, but
I love that it is adjustable.
Yeah, I love that it's adjustable. I love that there were moves I've never done before, like the like nose and ears, like that kind of stuff. Like the facial exercises I thought were really cool. I've been very curious about that, but I haven't practiced much. And the zero rest time in the like active section was really intense for me. So and you were saying like, how often are you in the gym working out? And I'm like, wow, I rest time. I for sure give myself a minute rest, and to not have that, it made me really realize like the next level that I could hit with my kind of
Lungs and breath.
yeah, just like the heat, that building.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, at the same time, like if somebody is just starting off and they need to rest, they can just rest. But for somebody who's like
Yeah.
really in shape, they just keep
exactly.
going.
And I found my rest times because I was like, whoa, you know. But I found that powerful to have the option of like, wow, I could like 18 minutes and just like stop. That's another level possible. The last thing I found was interesting is like at the end, I think he even came over to me like, remember to breathe. Like I went into breathlessness like multiple times this week. Oh yeah, we're still breathing. But like I would just lose it and like drift into the like nothingness and like, oh, we're still breathing.
Mhm.
And that like it's like the loss of time, space. It's just like you're in the floating ether. So powerful. So good. Really, really fun.
I found that to happen. I try to do this and film at the same time, and I remember there were times where I was talking while I was breathing, and then I would just stop for a second, and then I lose track, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I have to come back again. And you keep going out in and out, and it happens a lot with that breathing. I'm always curious on how on the prolonged effects of if somebody was to do shamanic breathing every single day. But what I also found was if somebody didn't do a practice similar like this, where they move a lot of the energy around beforehand and just go right into shamanic, they would have to do it a lot longer in order to feel the effects. We only did it for 6 minutes. That was it. And if you guys ever done shamanic, I mean, it's like 40 minutes longer. And so, I feel like there's a lot of similarity in effects, but it's just a lot shorter because we did all the other stuff beforehand.
I think it's really powerful that you can speak to. Like this is what I find impressive is the thinking versus feeling. There's two aspects to it. Like you talked about, like at the gym, we're like, okay, thinking of what to do. I love that as we go into the feeling body, not only are we allowing ourselves, we're training ourselves to feel all of our systems, to move, to relax, the breath, everything, clearing energy. But your cells are vibrating 500,000 times more powerfully than one single thought. So you talked about at the beginning, the mindset, right? And so it's like our mind is actually outside of our body because we're in the collective energy of the mind. So it's like when we're thinking something, we're still stuck in a paradigm of structure. And the more we train and allow ourselves to feel, and so it's like, I love that it's like a minute, and you breathe, all of a sudden you're going into like feeling with the body, like how does the body move, etc. And it takes out the mindset. So on such a deeper conscious level, as well as maximizing your energy, which creates manifestation, you're actually doing so much to allow the cells to be clear, even the face stuff. It's like when you first showed me the face stuff, you're like, how people want no wrinkles and how can we, and it's like, oh my God, like clearing our nose and doing this stuff, it's like, don't do that. And so we're actually been operating in a thing that is opposite of the way we're designed, right? From the way that we're designed to feel through things, not think through things. And figure it out, we're designed to feel energy and move with that. And so this, for me, I as I shared with a lot of people that come today, it was like, this feels like an upgrade in consciousness, like an upgrade in how to work with the body and move with the body and consciousness. And so, and you call it flow training. So it truly is. So I think that's a very powerful, there's a lot of powerful aspects of this that aren't even spoken to, that magnify your ability to operate and function and manifest.
And speaking of like the face, everybody wants to have a youthful, non-wrinkle, nice looking face. Like every time when we stress and we wrinkle and we have like these facial structures, our body starts to, every time we do that, we're programming the face to be like that. And so we have to, in order for our face to go from like to like relax, it's not just going into smile, we also need to break down the existing program. So it's like it's one structure, you can't just, the structure doesn't just change into another one. You want to take out the existing structure and then we rebuild another one. And so the facial exercises, it just relaxes it, so it allows another structure to form. And then what you're saying about the feeling, so we call it flow training because when I started to study into flow state, and Andrew, thank you for recommending Stealing Fire. I'm almost done with Stealing Fire. After you told me, I was like, of course I should read it. And I'm like on chapter 7 or 8 right now. So
good.
It's like, oh yes, yes, yes. And so if you guys haven't read Stealing Fire, it's a phenomenal book. Talks about flow state, talks about sinking in, altering state of consciousness, and how much society is already trying to do that with everything, from all the stuff that we take to the activities and all this stuff. And so when I started looking at flow state before, I started realizing there are certain aspects of flow state, and it's really similar to what I was studying about getting into presence, about being in the now. Except flow state talks about a couple things that are more about action orientated and about getting feedback, which has to do with doing things. And so as I started diving in, I realized that was fitting a little more than just being in this presence, and just kind of sitting there in meditation, because I want to go create and do things. And I found that the two aspects, well, when you look up flow state, the two aspects that trigger flow state tremendously is high skill and high challenge. And those two things really help somebody get into flow state. There's other things, but those two aspects really help. And high skill means allow someone to not have to think when they're doing something. Because if they have to think, they can't be in flow. They're constantly stopping before they do action. Stop, action, stop, action. Every time it's stopping, it's like think, action, think, action, think, action, versus action, 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 action. That's how it flows. And so in order for someone to not have to go into the think, action, think, somebody's skill set has to be high enough. So this way they can just go and continuously do whatever action it is that they're doing. And when it comes to this practice, because we're doing the same thing every single time, we don't have to think. It becomes really easy, you know? And so I find that before in traditional exercise, I have to think. Even though I've been exercising for so long, there is still, what should I do next? How much weight? How should I do this style, and all these things. And so therefore, it was really tough to get into flow. Another thing was high challenge. And with high challenge, it forces somebody's consciousness, someone's attention to be in the present moment. And so a lot of extreme athletes get into these high challenge situations, and they have to be present. Or if somebody is driving, a lot of people like to drive because driving is relatively, it's safe, but it's dangerous if you're not paying attention, something can happen. So automatically our focus is there, and we kind of get into the zone when we drive. That's why truck drivers, or a lot of people enjoy these long cruising drives. So with that high challenge aspect, because we have no rest times and we're challenging the body, it's really difficult. We find when you start to think, when you're doing these exercises, you're draining energy, and the exercise becomes more difficult to finish. And I find that if I don't think and I just go into the zone, it's so much easier. It actually becomes enjoyable for me to be able to do the exercises. Even though I do these every day, it is still difficult. I'm out of breath. I feel very similar to how you guys feel, the same way. Oh my God, and it's like I do this every day. And so what makes it enjoyable is when I don't think, because now I have more energy reserved for the action, and now I can get into the zone. So then those two aspects, high skill and high challenge, allows flow state to happen. And I find that a lot of times if I would just go and just do the exercises, and I know when I'm in flow, because it's easy to do, even though you can tell it gets pretty challenging at times, but yet it feels really easy, and my performance actually increases. And it wasn't because I got in better shape, it's because my thought has stopped. And so I use this practice as a way to get used to getting myself in that state. And since I've been doing this practice, I will practice getting into that state with other things. And now what I do is I practice doing things without resistance. Because how often do we do something and we have resistance in our mind, or resistance in our body? We don't feel like doing something. It could be anything. And you can sense it. And then sometimes we force ourselves to do it, and sometimes we just don't do it. But imagine if we don't have that resistance at all. And anytime when we want to do something, we can execute it. Anything, doesn't matter what it is, you know. Hey, go pick up some groceries right now. Okay. There's no, just do it. Anything can be done. And I think about that, and this practice has started to allow me to get rid of resistance in my body and resistance in my mind. And I can start to execute things a lot more smoother. And when that happens constantly, I realize I'm acting in flow, even with things that are minute. Washing the dishes, You know, go grab something upstairs and come downstairs and realize I forgot something upstairs and run back up without thinking, oh man, oh god, you know, there's this, none of that. It just becomes, I'm gonna go get it. Come back down. Oh, I forgot something. It's like, it's just blank. And the more time that I spend without resistance throughout the day, the longer I can stay in this energy flow. And the better I feel, and the more happier I am. And then the more I find I smile and more relaxed I feel. So that's some of the aspects that I feel personally from doing this practice, what I put my attention to.
You're also training the nervous system to settle down. We all have the ego is an overactivated nervous system, right? And so it's like training us to let all that out and to relax. It makes a lot of sense. Just everything makes a lot of sense.
Okay. I love how it's a culmination, and there's like roots that could go so deep in so many different directions, and we could point somebody's direction to capoeira foundation movement, to kundalini kriyas and self-adjustment of the spine exercises to incorporate with it, or so many different modalities of Qi Gong and different like add-on expansion packs of enhancing somebody's vocabulary of the roots of where some particular movement series may have kind of come from, or like how some people are doing this way, but we're incorporating it in this way because this is our end result. We want flow and total health, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. And yeah, it's like these four seasons. It's got these deeper roots that somebody can go in and explore each one a little bit more to enhance their vocabulary of what might be possible.
Absolutely, it's like a foundation. It's like the basics and foundations for a lot of different type of practices, and then somebody can dive into another practice they like, or they can do this, and it takes the benefits and the benefits of a lot of different practices, and not the full one, but just enough of it to where we combine it all together. The whole is nice.
I was going to say it shows that your expertise in many disciplines. Like I went deeper into many of them. I was like, you're doing it. It's interesting how it works in the brain. In the beginning, you go more into the beta brainwave, like more active. If you are focused and you're not in a group, that you can even go into gamma when you're kind of in the flow of that kind of thing, and then you start slowing down to the more alpha waves when you're like stretching and stuff like that. And finally, when you do the breathing and the meditation, you go into theta. So the interesting thing there for me was the gateway to the subconscious in the end is like wide open. And then you could have like programmed something or some feeling, emotional work was right there. You just swing it in and like make a big change.
Recoding work.
Yeah, recoding work. That was like the cherry on top. That the only thing I felt like.
All right, thank you for that. That's good feedback. Okay. Well, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Mari.
Thank you for all your feedback. This is awesome.